Ho, 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 ho. As I would say that, since I'm actually recording this on Christmas Day, but this video won't be released until 2 days after Christmas, it is that time once again after dealing with all the holiday seasons going on here, and even though we're still continuing on through the new year, we have to do another round of my Oscar nomination predictions for the month of December of 2024 before the very last one, to be precise. It is definitely chaotic, I would say that at the moment, with the big four major things that, of course, had happened throughout mainly the beginning of this month. The Independent Spirit Award nominations had announced theirs, with Anora and I Saw the TV Glow receiving the most nominations with 5. There have been also a lot of films that have also been in the contention here at the Spirit Awards that some of them did well, like Sing Sing and Nickel Boys and The Substance, even though some films like The Substance and even The Apprentice had some weird cases of misses, and even The Brutalist only showing up a director here at the Spirits. But then again, the Independent Spirit Awards are notable for going weird when it comes to their nominations. And then the Golden Globes, which of course that will be the very first ceremony, announced their nominations, and Emilia Perez really broke a big, massive record, becoming the most nominated comedy or musical film in the Golden Globes' history. It just was one shy of a nomination for 11th with Nashville, which obviously Robert Altman's film still holds the record for the most nominated Golden Globes film. Emilia Perez is now the second most one in history with a total of 10. They really took to it, especially since it is called the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, although they're not really trusted because they still have that dumb box office and cinematic achievement award. Although there were some underperformances, especially for films like Sing Sing and maybe a little bit with Dune Part 2. And then the Critics' Choice had announced their nominations. I have no idea why I have it not on the Wikipedia page, because Conclave and Wicked got double digits with 11 nominations. But then again, this is more of their why don't we just try to predict the Oscars and nominate 6 nominations for every category, but nominate 8 for director? Are you kidding me? That will also be coming soon on the week of the Oscar nominations, and actually, we are about 3 weeks away from the Oscar nominations, but there is still a few major awards left, but we'll get to that in a second. But also, the other big thing is the Oscars had, of course, released their shortlist. Now, I wasn't able to get my thoughts on the shortlist last year during my December 2023 predictions for last year's Oscars due to me almost losing my voice a bit because I kind of got sick a little bit after Christmas. So I didn't really have much to talk about, but thank goodness. Well, I did got sick like last week, but thank goodness that happened before Christmas, or this week specifically. But nothing, just simple. I think it's just that I'm obviously when the season changes, of course. But nothing really big majors when it comes to the shortlist. But the biggest thing was that Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, got shut out entirely here in the shortlist. Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, didn't get in for documentary. There is a little bit of love in animation in some of the other categories, but there has also been some love for films like Nosferatu, Alien Romulus, a little bit of Twisters, and then Deadpool and Wolverine by all means. What else? Mufasa the Lion King, The 6888. Let's see. Obviously, some films like Wicked and The Brutalist and a couple of other films. We finally got all what is in the considerations. Now, I am not going to be doing my predictions in all the categories in this video. That will be for the final prediction video that I would have to do probably on the day of release it on the day of the BAFTA nominations, I believe, or like the day before, because let me just tell you how this schedule is going to be, because, so what we have left are the main 4 guilds plus the BAFTAs prior to the Oscar nominations. All the guilds are actually going to be announcing their nominations in the span of 3 days, and that's in about 2 weeks from now. On Wednesday the 8th, the Screen Actors Guild and the Directors Guild will announce their nominations. Then on Thursday the 9th, the Writers Writers Guild nominations have been announced, and we'll talk a little bit what's ineligible over there at WGA when we do the screenplay predictions. And then on the where is it? Although we already have the documentary nominees already in the PGA lineup for the Producers Guild, the main animated and theatrical Best Picture categories will be announced. Where is it? On the 10th, so on January 10th. And then the last one, of course, will be the BAFTAs, where the long list will be announced on the 3rd, and the nominations will be announced on the 15th, and then just 2 days after the BAFTA nominations, the Oscar nominations are going to be announced on Friday, January 17th. So yeah, the first time the Oscar nominations are going to be announced on a Friday, and that's actually kind of a good thing. That means, although I got to see the nominations legit live for the first time, although there was, of course, a YouTube ad, I would finally get to see this on a proper day where I don't have to deal with IRL stuff, because it's usually my weekend, so yay. I almost got confused there. I thought on the ABC's page here, it almost got me confused of the times how they did it, but yeah, so January 12th, the nominations voting will end, and Friday will be the announcements, because the ceremony is on Sunday, March the 2nd. So here's how it's going to go. It's going to go my predictions that will be coming up prior to Oscar nominations day would go the Golden Globe predictions, then my predictions for all 4 guilds, then the Critics' Choice, then the BAFTAs on probably the weekend of, it's going to be kind of complicated, because I know I'm planning to probably do it next Friday with the Globes. And then probably on Monday or Sunday will be my guild predictions. And then either the 9th or 10th would have to be the Critics' Choice. And then the 11th through the 12th would have to be the BAFTA predictions. And then the 14th, I'm hoping, or the 13th to do the Oscar nomination prediction. It's kind of complicated here because it's insane that the BAFTAs and the Oscars are just announcing their nominations 2 days apart. So you basically, if you're going to do your final predictions, you have to do it before the BAFTA nominations are announced, because you have to go by the long list, because, oh boy, it is going to be very difficult to do that, but it's just that you can't really do that in the span of 2 days, otherwise you're not going to get a bunch of the views unless you're a big one. But I think with all that explanation, I think it's time to do these predictions. So for adapted screenplay, I have Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. Yep, I'm kind of in a very, probably an apologetic matter of not putting Nickel Boys in throughout most of the entire season. Now with the movie has kind of gotten out, has been officially released, and has gotten a lot of better reviews than I thought based on the original festival reactions, but it has been doing well. It appeared on many people's top 10 list. AFI did put in their top 10. It got a solo drama nomination at the Golden Globes. It's just everywhere. It is a legit thing, even though many people might view it as the big Oscar bait candidates, but it's just there's a lot of passion for the film specifically. I know the Oscar expert is probably pointing all of our fingers, but it's just that's because he loved the movie more than a lot of people did. But then again, I can't really judge on people's opinions since I've seen Nickel Boys. As you can see, I really kind of dumped down a little bit of Sing Sing a bit because, I'm not in the big Sing Sing frontrunner status as I used to be. Now, just want to mention once again, I am, if you're obviously seeing, I am doing my predictions courtesy through the awards expert app. Obviously, the way how I would rank this is, I would say, is the most likely to get nominated versus the most likely to win. Now, Conclave, I guaranteed, is the most likely to get nominated, but here's the thing. I feel like Nickel Boys can actually now win this, because here's the thing. One thing that Conclave has, obviously, is ineligible for the Writers Guild, of course. That's one of the big films that's ineligible for WG, alongside with Sing Sing, Amelia Perez, and what's also here, I have as the bottom 5, I'm Still Here, The Room Next Door, which took completely off of my total predictions, and The Wild Robot. The thing about it is, we have rarely seen a movie win screenplay that is not written by the director. The last time we saw this in the adapted side was with Call Me By Your Name, even though I know James Ivory had directed films in the past, he just wrote the film. And the last time we saw one on the original side was The King's Speech. We had, co-writers, of course, but voters love movies when the director writes their own scripts. And Ramel Ross is one of the writers of Nickel Boys, and Edward Berger is not a writer on Conclave. So I feel like probably there might be a lot of late passion votes that might give Nickel Boys the win for the adapted at the Oscars. It is definitely now in front of WGA. I would also say it's out front, I would say maybe at Critics' Choice, although Conclave did got 11 nominations, but I think it could be a battle between Conclave and Nickel Boys, because if Nickel Boys wins the Writers Guild, no, not the Writers Guild, the Critics' Choice, even though, because I think Conclave's still going to win the BAFTA regardless, but if Nickel Boys does win at Critics' Choice and then the Writers Guild, I think I'm going to go with it for the Oscars, because they love their directors as writers. And because since I have a little overperformance for Nickel Boys, you might know where this is going. Although Conclave, I think, is the most likely to get nominated, I think Nickel Boys could be the one to pull off the win. Now, obviously, I will probably discuss more of my predictions on the guilds when I will see what also would be in the contention, because I know Wicked and A Complete Unknown are most likely going to be in there. I know Wicked I should be putting in there, but if there's going to be one musical, I think it's going to be Amelia Perez. Now, I know Dune Part 2 might be a little bit of trouble right now, although it did well in the shortlist, even though it can't get up for score, and even though it underperformed at Critic Golden Globes as expected, although it didn't get in for director for some reason. It's just like Wicked, like it's kind of intense competition, but it's just like I feel like I'm only confident in these, but I feel like the Academy is going to over-nominate Amelia Perez, and you'll see that in a little bit near the end of the video. For original screenplay, I have Nora, The Brutalist, Challengers, A Real Pain, and The Substance. I did not change it from last month. But September 5th is on the edge here. It did got original screenplay and film editing Critics' Choice, that editing nomination at the Spirit Awards, and that Golden Globe nomination for motion picture drama, which was his only nomination, like Nickel Boys. It is definitely on the edge of the seats. It is ineligible for WGA. I would say if it gets a SAG Ensemble nomination for September 5th, I know some people said September 5th, but I think the Academy might say September 5th, and I'm just going to probably say that because it sounds better. I think we can all agree on that. It could be. And another movie that is also a possibility is All We Imagine Is Light. Now, obviously, it cannot qualify for the international category, but Payal Kabadi got that surprising out-of-nowhere director nomination at the Golden Globes. That could really, if they want to recognize the film somewhere, since it can't go up in the international, it would have to be original. It didn't show up at Critics' Choice. Maybe BAFTA would probably support it, but then again, I think we know Hard Truths is definitely going to be in that place. Speaking of that Hard Truths, that film, along with The Substance, The Brutalist, September 5th, All We Imagine Is Light, and are the ones ineligible here. The ones I have here that all have potentialities. I think Nora, Real Pain, and Challengers, and Saturday Night are definitely confident in the 4 slots at the Writers Guild. Baby Girl could be a possibility as well for Nicole Kidman's Best Actress buzz. But I feel like at the moment, I'm confident of the 4. Challengers might be the one that could be the one that either stays or goes. So then again, they might view The Substance more as an acting and physical script, and more of a directing as well, more so than a written one, but I feel like The Substance needs to be here to be a strong Best Picture candidate. Supporting actress, I have Anjanou Ellis-Taylor in Nickel Boys, Ariana Grande in her lead performance in Wicked, Felicity Jones in The Brutalist, Isabel Rossellini in Conclave, and Zoe Saldana in Amelia Perez, in her lead performance to be precise. So, I actually did have Anjanou Ellis all the way back in August. It was just like, I just put that in there just for the safe bet. But I think, although she didn't get in at Globes, might have a struggle with BAFTA. It depends on how the BAFTAs are going to go, how British they're going to go, how more European they're going to go, because there might be some notable people that might actually have also some trouble. I think the only person I think that is pretty much going to get nominated everywhere is Zoe Saldana. I know many people would say Ariana Grande as well, but here's the thing. I at the moment I haven't done my early BAFTA prediction. I have done my early BAFTA predictions at the moment before the long list, and at the moment I don't have Ariana Grande getting in at BAFTA because I don't know how the voting process is compared to what it was in the past. I don't know if they do that jury thing anymore. I have to see the information because it might be a little bit different because I can have a lot of people that could get in at SAG. It might be more of a discussion when we get to those two predictions, but yeah, at the moment, I don't have Grande getting in at BAFTA. I do have her barely getting in at SAG along with Selena Gomez. Felicity Jones is a little bit trouble. She did go on the Globes. I think BAFTA will definitely do her fine. I'm not sure how SAG will go for Margaret Qualley. Danielle Deadweiler, I think they could go with her for SAG. If a complete unknown really shows a lot of buzz, especially at SAG, maybe either Monica Barbario or Elle Fanning could do it. Elle Fanning won National Board of Review by all means. I forgot what was the National Board of Review winner. What was it again? It wasn't a Nora. It wasn't the Brutalist. I forget what was the winner at a National Board of Review? I forgot. Oh, it was Wicked. It was Wicked. I forgot. Wicked won National Board of Review. So yeah, I had a break there in a second. So like, any 10 of these could get all 10 of these candidates at the moment could get nominated any of the places. And at the moment, you have to see any of the two complete unknown ladies getting in like SAG or BAFTA somewhat. But if that movie with now being released maybe be a late bloomer, and as I said, I'm kind of having and predicting for SAG Ensemble as a possibility. Now, yeah, there is definitely going to be a lot of people that's going to be missing in a lot of places. The only person I think that is pretty much going to get in everywhere is Zoe Saldana. And the fact that the Globes over-nominated Amelia Perez, I feel like I'm kind of more confident of her being a clear front-runner here. Although I have Grande out front at Critics' Choice, but I feel like the rest of them could really be a Saldana thing at the moment. So, especially if they want to reward one of the actresses of the film, and I think that would probably be the deal with Saldana. For supporting actor, I have Yora Borisov in Honora, Kieran Culkin in his lead performance in A Real Pain, Clarence Macklin in Sing Sing, Stanley Tucci in Conclave, and Denzel Washington in Gladiator 2. Now, Clarence Macklin missing the Golden Globes, that just kind of hurt his frontrunner status a bit, even though the Globes and Critics' Choice might not matter. But that kind of shows that Macklin is not the frontrunner or the Troy Kotsers we thought we were going to be. And with Kieran Culkin now sweeping all the Critics Awards for his lead performance in supporting, and even though I know people are laughing at me for predicting Grande and Culkin, predicting them for leading at the Globes, which was, I feel like the voters just didn't want to follow based on what they viewed in the movies like they did in the past. They just listened to what the studio said. So yeah, we're basically going to have two leading performances is potentially sweeping the supporting categories and not legit supporting performances. And that's the case with Culkin at the moment. Now, Tucci is a little bit in the open question mark. I would say BAFTA would be the one place where he could get in. But then again, now with the BAFTA nominations being announced 2 days before the Oscar nominations, it's going to be difficult where he's going to be on until we find out on BAFTA nominations morning. So yeah, taking Guy Pearce out for a bit, that was kind of a not so good thing. If SAG really goes on Edward Norton, I might be a little bit worried about it. Maybe Harris Dickinson might do something for Baby Girl. Obviously Germany strong, although he gets in Globes, and he'll guarantee get in at BAFTA. And I don't know if he got in the Spirits, I believe. I don't remember if he did. I know Sebastian Stan did. But it's just that, obviously, since the only two places you will not see Strong get in are SAG and the Oscars because of a lot of liberal actors. I already explained that in the last video what's going to be predicting and happening to the show. So, Norton, I'm probably the most worried about. I know many people might be pointing fingers of why I have Samuel L. Jackson at number 10 at the moment. That will be discussed when we get to the SAG predictions. For lead actress, I have Carla Sevilla Gascon and Amelia Perez, Marion Jean-Baptiste in Hard Truths, Angelina Jolie and Maria, Mikey Madison in Honora, and Demi Moore in The Substance. So, I am confident at the moment with three of them, Madison, Moore, and Gascon here on this list. Now, I feel like those three are the most likely ones to get nominated, and I almost feel like almost considering putting Demi Moore now up front here, because the thing is, the one thing that if Demi Moore wins, because The Substance is the makeup and hairstyling frontrunner, and because as we saw for the past 3 years, the makeup and hairstyling category managed to tell us what is winning a lead acting prize. Like with The Eyes of Tammy Faye with Jessica Chastain, when The Whale won, Brendan Fraser took the win, and with Poor Things, Emily Stone, yes, I'm calling her by her real name, that she won last year for Best Actress. And that could be the happening thing with The Substance if Honora is not the Best Picture frontrunner. Because at the moment, I kind of do have it at the moment, which that's a little hard. But the fact is, if I have Honora as the picture frontrunner, I have to put Mikey Madison now as the most likely to win. Because I feel like those three are the most likely to get nominated. Now, Madison and Gascon, I would say I probably would not have them out front at SAG, because there is a lot of friends at SAG that are friends with some specific actresses. Like Jolie, I even think Jolie could even miss SAG as well, because since they did miss Kristen Stewart for Spencer, there's a possibility Jolie could miss that and maybe BAFTA as well. Marianne Jean-Baptiste, I think BAFTA will probably help her out, because surprisingly she got in Critics' Choice, which that helped her redeem. Now, yes, I don't have Cynthia Erivo in here, and I am kind of probably stated this in the last video. I have her going as Lady Gaga in House of Gucci, Viola Davis in The Woman King, and especially Margot Robbie in Barbie, where she gets in everywhere an actress, but misses the Oscar nomination. And as I've stated in the last video, I feel like she would make more sense to be the frontrunner for Wicked for Good. That's now, from what I heard, the official title for the second film. I feel like that would make more sense for her being the clear frontrunner for that film, for the second film, instead of the first film, especially when you look at the competitions here, like Fernando Torres. It's ironic that people were, in my Critics' Choice predictions video, were kind of accusing me of not putting her in my Critics' Choice predictions for Best Actress. Who's laughing now? I could still see her getting in at BAFTA, but it's just like with Amelia Perez is kind of more the thing. Kidman, I guaranteed, is going to get in SAG, because SAG loves her, and that's the thing, because a lot of actors might be friends with some specific actors they really have huge bias towards, and Kidman gets in almost all the time at SAG. And you could also say they might be close friends with Cynthia Erivo, and maybe Pamela Anderson actually gets in SAG for The Last Showgirl. I can actually almost see that happening here, because they really rarely, sometimes, not all the time, I don't know about in the supporting categories, but in the lead categories, they always love their fellow actors that they love. It just doesn't, like, when it comes to new candidates, like new actors that are being almost introduced in the film industry a bit, although I did not know Mikey Madison was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I didn't recognize her in that, but it's just like you're going to expect some of your SAG's favorite friends, like Kidman or Anderson probably, or obviously Jolie, maybe Julianne Moore or something like that getting in. I'll probably have to make more of that sense when I do my SAG predictions, but it's just like so openly minded. I'm just only convinced of the three. Even if Gascon or Madison does miss SAG, I still think they're going to still get in here regardless. Lead actor, Adrian Brody in The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet in Complete Unknown, Daniel Craig in Queer, Palma Domingo in Sing Sing, and Ray Fiennes in Conway. This is going to be the Oscar 5 no matter what. If this is the SAG 5, it's done. All 5 of them are going to show up at BAFTA with Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice, who of course won't be showing up at SAG or at the Oscars. If he does, it would be for a different man instead of The Apprentice. I'm a little bit worried now that Chalamet might be considered now the potential frontrunner. I'm not sure if I don't think he would sweep, because at the moment I do have him out front for the Golden Globe, because the Globes love their music biopic performances a lot in the leading categories. Like, yeah, obviously Austin Butler won for Elvis, but that was obvious because Brendan Fraser hates the Golden Globes for a passion. But I'm going back to when Andra Day won this for the Globe for the United States versus Billie Holiday for Actress in a Drama. That's what I'm feeling like Chalamet might actually win the Globe for Complete Unknown, especially since the movie is in Best Picture. And if the movie is showing up in Best Picture, and if it does get a SAG Ensemble nomination, then Chalamet could be the potential frontrunner a bit over somebody like Ray Fiennes or Adrian Brody. But keep in mind, Fiennes and Brody still have places they could actually win. Like, I have Fiennes out front at BAFTA. But Brody obviously only won the Oscar for The Pianist, so he can win anything, like at Critics' Choice or something like that. Or Fiennes could actually win at Critics' Choice as well, because all three of them, I think this race is going to be open until either until after SAG, because I think, if I'm correct, BAFTA will be coming first, and then the Screen Actors Guild, like it has been, which has been kind of a little bit more helpful, like, for the past few years, even though sometimes it doesn't, like how a lot of the times, like, last two years ago, SAG actually did match the Oscar 5, and then, of course, last year, the only difference was actress, when they went with Lily Gladstone instead of Emily Stone at the Oscars. So yeah, it's obviously between the three. I would say if Chalamet wins BAFTA like before SAG over Fines, then it is legit done. Like, I don't know if he would sweep. I'm just saying he would win the Globe for sure. It's just like how much last minute momentum has been for A Complete Unknown for the late voter. Like, since it's one of the last films many voters would have to see, since it's just been released now. For directing, I have Sean Baker for Honora, Edward Berger for Conclave, Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez, Ramel Ross for Nickel Boys, and Corleo Forchard for The Substance. So let's start up with Ramel Ross here. So yeah, I did kind of went a little bit hot on Nickel Boys here. Now, one thing that I did notice is something that I hadn't realized, that why I think like Ramel Ross will get in. Not also because of the passion, but the thing is, we have not had an African filmmaker nominated and director since Spike Lee for BlacKkKlansman. Like, we had a colored woman, of course, with Chloe Zhao, but we haven't had a colored male director in a while, and I think Ramel Ross would definitely be the one to do so with a passion, and we have to get the woman in here with Carla Rashad. I feel like after the Globes, I almost might think Audiard might be the front runner. I would not say he would sweep the season, because I can see him not winning at Critics' Choice or at DGA, because I do have him out front at Globes, because I think with the film over-nominated over that ceremony, I think Audiard's pretty much got the Globe. I feel like Edward Berger could actually take Critics' Choice, since Conclave did overperform that. Now, you might be wondering, where's Brady Corbett? There is always that one big, massive snub. Now, then again, Sean Baker could also miss out for director, but then again, and obviously, when a Neon film wins the Palme d'Or at Cannes, they always get in for director, as we saw with Parasite, Triangle of Sadness, and Anatomy of a Fall, and if it is the potential Best Picture frontrunner, he has to get in there at least. But it is a possibility he might miss, but then again, like, Brady Corbett makes a lot more sense when you think about it, but it's just like, how can you take any, like, I think it's between those six, because John M. Chu and Denis Villeneuve, I still think they will get a DGA, but they will not make it to the Oscars. Greg Cordor is there, and although if A Complete Unknown gets a little bit last-minute Best Picture momentum, James Mangold's probably not going to make it unless if he shows up at DGA. And for Best Picture, I have Honora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boys, Sing Sing, The Substance, and Wicked. So yeah, I have now added Nickel Boys into it. A Complete Unknown, I would say it's between this and A Real Pain for that 10th slot, I would say. I would say Sing Sing might be in a little bit of trouble, but I think SAG will help. That SAG Ensemble nomination will get in for that film. If it misses SAG Ensemble, then Sing Sing is in real trouble a bit. It's just like, I would say the 10th slot is between A Complete Unknown and A Real Pain. Sing Sing obviously did miss the Golden Globe for Motion Picture Drama. I think I'm just confident in the 8 at the moment. I just have to wait for SAG to see if they can save Sing Sing. Now, obviously, it's odd. I had Sing Sing for number 1 for many months, and now it's like down to number 9, because I now have Honora as not also the most likely to get nominated, but probably our potential Best Picture frontrunner. I think, yeah, it's just like there's no way any of the 8 are going to miss there. It's just like, we'll have to see if A Complete Unknown shows up at SAG Ensemble, which I actually do, and then you have to ask yourself, what other places A Complete Unknown would get in for Best Picture other than Chalamet? That could be like, it just gets in for Picture and Chalamet, and that's just it. But then again, it's also on the shortlist for sound. I actually even have it up at the moment for film editing, because the branch really loves music biopics in that category, as we saw with Elvis, and they gave the win to Bohemian Rhapsody, so it's a possibility. You might notice I have put a little bit of Nosferatu at them a little bit higher, because although I don't have it in the top tier categories, I do have it getting in a couple of techs, and I think because I don't think the Producers Guild is going to match the Oscar 10, because I think last year it was pretty historic, but I don't think, but you're going to probably rarely see that. And I have Nosferatu along with Challengers and Gladiator 2 at the moment getting in at the Producers Guild. I have Gladiator 2, as I said in the last video, I have it going in as Black Panther Wakanda Forever at the Oscars. So I feel like Nosferatu would just get in a bunch of texts, and that would just it. Because I think many voters said, oh, we already have the substance, so we don't need 2 horror films. Although that would be really amazing to actually see 2 horror films getting in for Best Picture, especially since Nosferatu is also out as well. We'll just have to see how many passion we're going to have for that film as well. Challengers is also still on the edge. If September 5th gets a SAG Ensemble nomination, we'll have to be on the lookout. It's just like, I feel like it's between those 15. It's just like, we'll see what the Producers Guild is going to say and what the BAFTA long list is going to say. What are the 10 candidates? And finally, before we wrap up this video, now I have stated, obviously, I'm not going to be predicting any of the other categories until the very final Oscar nomination predictions. But I will be sharing you guys what I have at the moment for what I think is my predictions, what is going to get the most nominations at the Oscars. If you want to see what I'm predicting right now in the technical categories, I haven't started the shorts yet a bit. That will be, I will have to do that sometime at another time throughout either the rest of this month or the beginning of next month, because I have to do research on them a bit. Although I have already 2 in the animated category, short category, because they got in the Annies. But so at the moment, for my predictions of what I think is the most likely to get nominated, I have Conclave and Amelia Perez getting 10, Dune Part 2 getting in with 9. Obviously, it would make sense to go with 10, but you got to remember it's not eligible for original score, and I don't think Denis Villeneuve will not get in for director. Wicked with 7. I know many people might be eyeing out on that, but you got to keep in mind, Critics' Choice really overperformed the film, and maybe a lot of critics are insane with it. That's the similar thing I feel like, even though I know Wicked is not Barbie, but I just like it's just the overreactions, I guess. Anora and the Brutalist with 6, Nickel Boys, Sing Sing and the Substance with 5, A Complete Unknown, Gladiator 2 and Nosferatu with 4. That's why I kind of mentioned why I have Nosferatu getting just a bunch of texts. Challengers and Maria with 3, and A Real Pain with 2. So that's basically what I have at the moment. I don't know what is going to change when we get closer to, like, the BAFTA long list and what the guilds would have to say, specifically in the top guilds, to make some final arrangements. I know I really should be adding the Wild Robot in, like, the music categories, but that many people might be wondering, but with Jandy Gaines, the Academy president, they don't respect animation under her leadership. I'll probably explain that. I already done a short video on that almost a year ago, and I might have to example of that when I do that in the prediction video. So yeah, so that kind of basically wraps it up. So if I'm correct, how this award season schedule is going to go for my channel, it's going to go the Golden Globe predictions, then the Guild nomination predictions, Critics' Choice predictions, BAFTA nomination predictions, and Oscar final nomination predictions before the BAFTA nominations, which, yeah, you just can't do that in the span of like a day or 2 just to make your final predictions. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you want to see how my predictions are, follow the Awards Expert app to join me along throughout this movie award season for the films of 2024.